Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm gonna do a TV show review of the TV show Ice Road Truckers. And no, I did not see the show on History Channel when it first came out back in 2005. I actually saw it on the over there channel Quest. And what Quest is they show old History Channel, A&E, and National Geographic TV shows. But they don't show anything related to history, arts, like arts and entertainment. I mean, they do show shows that might be have entertainment value, but they're not like you're not getting the entertainment of like the arts in those shows. And they don't show any show that is related to like nature or like nature or like science. Like I think Cosmos was on like the partnership with like National Geographic and Fox. I think the show Cosmos was, but that's nature. It's like kind of nature sciencey show. But they don't show those shows like nature shows like arts, anything to do with arts or history. They show that like the prime time light. But anyways, back in the about like old shows that are discontinued on there. They're not making any new episodes of. Like the whole show. There's certain seasons or episodes. But and that's the Ice Road Truckers. They only show up to like a certain episode in the show, in the TV show. And they stop and repeat the show all over again. Constantly. That's what they're doing for like a few months. Like 3 episodes a day. That's how I watch the show. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the show as of now. And so, basically, the show is what you think it is. Truckers, which is another word for truck drivers, driving on roads covered in ice. That's basically what the show is. That's basically what the point of the show is. So the truck drivers live in Canada in season 1. And they're driving, and they have to, and then you meet the drivers. Basically, the first episode I think is like the first few episodes are not really the greatest. They're getting to like know like the truck drivers personally. I mean, you kind of have to have like a few basic episodes to like bond with them. So you kind of have to like bond with truck drivers in the first episodes, and you kind of I think you kind of have like a history lesson, I believe, in one of the episode, the beginning episode. But you have like you bond with the truck drivers and stuff like that for a little bit, get to know them, kind of a little bit, and then the real stuff excitement starts. The really only excitement about this is you don't really care what they're driving over. I mean, yeah, sometimes they might drive over like light loads, like really light stuff over. But I mean, that's not really the entertaining part. The entertaining part is just them driving over, bringing like pushing the limits of what they can bring. They can drive on like frozen lakes, rivers, and streams. So basically, when ice freezes in the winter, like water freezes in the winter, and it turns into ice on like lakes, rivers, and streams in nature. And you have to drive. And then there's these cities in Canada that are like have like water separating these they have water separating these cities, and the only way that these very rural areas, like very rural, like these are like very small towns, and the only way they can get like supplies to them is is during the winter when truck drivers drive over like frozen lakes, rivers, and streams, and other stuff to them, which is kind of awesome. That the truck drivers are brave. That some truckers will be brave enough to drive over ice and risk truck falling in the water with heavy stuff. But it does kind of look a little sped up because like when they're driving over the ice, let's say 70,000 pounds on like ice, say 50,000 pounds, they're not going very fast. When like 10 miles an hour. If ice is like a mile long, might take them, say, 5-10 minutes to drive over that piece of ice. So not really it's kind of like a little fakers, but and then they only show you like the excitement parts when they like drive over the ice, and then they only show you like like if someone like has a thing where they might like crash or carrying something heavy, or or then there's like drama, because there is drama in these episodes between the drivers. They're like feuding, and then they also have stuff like that. But and then basically happens in Canada is they have one trucking company, and they drive stuff to the oil fields in there, and then they branch out to just show whatever they're driving like to other places, and then they also they drive to like other fields, and then they basically I believe they show like go to like Alaska and do like driving in like Alaska, but I believe they stopped in later on in the show. I believe they stopped that. Like they quit showing like Alaska, I believe. I don't remember. Maybe they didn't, but I can't remember. I think they did though. Maybe they just do Canada. They just do Canada though, and then they and then basically later on in the series, like the driver, there's like a load count, and then basically whoever delivers the most like semi loads, will get will be the load count winner. And basically, the more loads you deliver, the more money you make. And then whoever delivers the most loads and makes the most money in the year will win like especially like jacket or like plaque or something like that. And what is a lot of the drivers seem to get along with each other. But then there's sometimes, drivers will get like angry or mad or upset. That they're delivering like they should get like the better loads, but get respect, and they have to earn the respect, and they should get respect. They're in the big loads and heavy loads and stuff like that. But the way it works though sometimes is you gotta be like the biggest drivers to get like the best load, like the more experienced drivers, or if you're a younger driver, you get to do a couple one or two test loads with bigger stuff. And if you don't pan out well enough like that, or or they might not like you as a worker, they might just give you loads that are like the lower end of the totem pole. But I mean, if you're on the lower end of the totem pole, you're just happy to get loads, And then you have some drivers, it's just basically like feuding back and forth with it on some of the drivers, and you have like, and they show like the drivers like crashing, if there's like drivers that crash, get accidents, or they show like like drivers just driving over the ice, and stuff like that. Like the frozen lakes and streams, deliver stuff, and then they have like a little load count. And there's also in the end of the show, and during the show, they also have like two truck companies. They're like competitors. Like one person quit this company to form their own trucking company, and they basically do the same truck driving company, basically was like one person quit. They started out one company, and then that person in Canada, and that person quit from their own truck driving company, and then it's competitors with the one company they used to work for in the show. So they have 2 companies now. And then they did a competition, which company can get the most loads during the show. Is it the new company or is it the old company? So it's like competition in the show. And that's pretty much all the show is. I mean, it's okay. It's just pretty much like, something basic, like driving, like semi-driving, and they added like a new element to it, like driving over like frozen ice, like frozen water, ice. You drive to go to like land communities or landlocked. And they can only get goods in like the winter, like semi-driven goods in the winter, and it's frozen up, because the only way they can get stuff is like shipped to them via their like local post office up in Canada. Like flown in to the local post office, or flown in like on like UPS, like airplanes and helicopters, and FedEx airplanes and helicopters. There's FedEx in Canada. I know there's UPS in Canada. So yeah, so and then they just take it with like who can get the most loads, or which company can get the most loads, or it's just kind of drama filled. Or they show like one time they show like one that's like big tall loads, like like that might barely clear like bridges. Like there's like road, there's like roads and stuff, like freeways, and they barely clear, and barely fit in the underneath that, or barely fit underneath a sign or something like that. One of those big tall street like road signs in the freeway, stuff like that. It's kind of like over dramatized, but I mean the show does kind of get a little tiring after a while. It is just so dramatizing after a while. And then they always make you wait till the end of the commercial to see like them driving on the ice and stuff like that, which I mean I understand that. But and then there's like sometimes certain loads don't even show hardly any of, because it's not that exciting. You can't really market them in the show well. But they do mention every load on there. They just don't show it, because if they fit in with the original episodes, or it doesn't fit their mold in the drama. You know what I mean? And they have like drama about people quitting the show, about like quitting the company, stuff like that. And they have new people come in that you have to kind of get acclimated to in the show. But I don't know, it is what it is. I give the show probably I mean, it's a good show, even though it's kind of dramatized. Give it about 7 out of 10. It's not like horrible show, but it's not like a bad show. And then they did have like a couple of seasons of like a after show. Like at the end of the season, at the end of the year, everyone would get together and they'd have some guy like ask, and they'd sit around in like a little, he'd like rent out like a little coffee shop in Canada. They'd like rent out a little coffee shop in Canada, and they'd be like, just like, driving around, or not driving around, but they'd rent out like a coffee shop, and they would like sit there and like drink coffee with the cameras on them, talking about like their favorite parts were from like last season, or from like the last like year of doing it, or like just other random stuff about like truck driving. They would ask on camera, or like stuff between like the drivers, you may ask, but I mean that was okay. It was a little more personal. You kind of get to know the drivers more. Kind of get to know them more on like a little bit of a personal level, a little bit more like a personal level. That was okay, but they got rid of that, and it was like they got rid of that. Like they did like two or three times of that. I don't know they did for sure twice, but I know they did like at least two of that, and they quit that. They knew probably those episodes weren't super popular, but yeah. Thanks, Sam. Thank you. And I guess I'm at 7:10 for TV show. Answer Chuckers.